All right, Angola, they booked the first ticket to the quarterfinal after beating Namibia by 3-0. Very interesting game in terms of the ebb and flow, but ultimately the Angolans going through. The highlight of the game, that amazing goal scored by Mabululu. It's not the wildest of goals in terms of the wow factor, but the technique to execute that, maybe Mabululu should organize a class on how to play the ball that manner to get himself into that position. Absolutely brilliant goal from Mabululu, and that's why Angola have made it to the round of the last eight of the competition. Angola 3, Namibia 0. We'll get to the touchpad in a bit. I don't know whether my colleagues are here, but let's move on. Edwin, let's get into some of the interesting things you picked up as Angola took on Namibia.
So Nathan, there was a lot to get through when I took a look at the footage. The first one obviously was the red card Angola got earlier in the game. I think it was the first half of the game. Let's take a look at the sequence here. And I've already spoken here about the importance of having players, defenders, central defenders who can pass the ball. Mm-hmm. And here you look at the Namibian defender. He has so many options he could go to. Over here, back to his defender, back to the goalkeeper. These are the three basic options he has.
Okay.
What he chooses to do
he could even be adventurous by finding Peter Shalulile up in the center circle.
Close here.
No, if you like, look at that.
And also here.
That's a risky pass. Of course, a little risky, but
there are a few risky passes that he could make. But he chose the riskiest one by going even further.
Okay.
So we take a look there. He scans the pitch, looks for options, and then puts it all the way through everyone, which helps Namibia break through all the Angolan midfielders, the fullback, and now you have a striker who is taking on just two centre-backs. So that pass was magnificent, helps them take out a lot of possible obstacles in the middle of the park and gets them into an advantageous position. Over here, where Angola went wrong was the gap between the two centre-backs over here. It's too huge for this player to recover. And I feel that he is the major problem here because he was on the back of his heels, not his toes. As a defender, you need to stick close to your centre-back partner. And unfortunately, the gap between the two was too huge, and he couldn't make it up. Even when he did get the chance to recover, he hesitated in this moment, meaning he couldn't catch up to the ball as it was coming. And once you hesitate, you give the offensive player all the advantages in this situation. And he takes it. Once he gets to the ball, there's no recovery here. It's up to the goalkeeper to come out and make the save. And unfortunately, he decides to handle the ball outside the box. And once you do that as a goalkeeper, it's a straight red card. You can't recover from that. And if you saw his reaction after he did that, everyone knew that obviously he made a mistake for that. He was covering up for his defender's error, and this is what it resulted in. A red card for Angola that they had to recover from. No team would like to recover from this situation, being down a man inside the first half. But somehow they did it, and we'll take a look at how they did it.
But just staying on the red card.
On the red card.
No controversy there. Did you think the referee acted a bit too quickly? Should he have had another look?
No, I think the referee acted within the laws. I think the referees throughout this tournament have been very, very consistent with their decisions.
So even without the benefit of a replay, he could quickly tell that the goalkeeper had handled the ball in the area.
Even outside the area. Even the reactions of the players, the defenders around them, it just said a lot in that situation. The goalkeeper's reaction, even the assistant referee saw what was up, and he immediately called for the foul and obviously the red card in this situation.
But because I'm wondering, did a goalkeeper overreact to the situation by quickly coming out? Should he have stayed a little longer? I don't know.
Look, when you're in such a position, it's the emotion that gets to you. If you don't come out quickly enough, you get swarmed by 2 attackers, and then you give more options to the attacking team, whether the striker opts to take a shot himself or whether he passes over to his teammates to get the tap in. So as a goalkeeper, you are supposed to make a decision in that split second. Okay. He decided to come out and try and save it. Unfortunately, that second cost him, and he handled the ball outside the penalty.
So at this point, it's Angola, 1 man down.
1 man down.
They need to make a change. They throw on a substitute goalkeeper. But the Namibians themselves also get a deficit a little later.
A little later, but before that, Angola take the lead. And this is due to some enterprising play from the Angolans. Okay. First of all, Gilberto down this side. I'll slow down the footage so that our viewers can get a better look.
Okay.
Gilberto down this side. Over here, he has very, very few options he can aim for. But then Freddie gives him a very good option with the run he makes. Freddie makes a wonderful run, which unfortunately is not tracked for Namibia anyway. It's not tracked by this defender, who should have kept an eye on him, since he is looking right at Freddie and looking at the body movement of the player. He knows the player is making a move. However, he doesn't anticipate the move early enough, and Freddie gets a good run in there. But you have to credit the pass from Gilberto. He finds him in the tiniest of spaces through here. anyone would think that Gilberto will make the pass through here.
Okay.
But once he gets through this space, he takes out this defender, and obviously because of the lack of anticipation from this defender, you get a good run in on goal.
Okay.
The other defender at fault is this one right here. Not being able to keep track of Gelsindala, who is about to make the run. And obviously it cost him. Gelsindala is obviously creating an option here for Freddie and for Gilberto in case he decides to put the ball into the box via cross. He doesn't do that. He makes the pass. Freddie gets into the box. Gelsindala follows, and the defenders don't, which obviously costs them a goal right here. So over here, the defender is well behind Gelsindala. No time for him to recover. Freddie, who could have taken the shot, and I've spoken a lot about decision-making and team play.
Yes.
Freddie,
I think you highlighted that with Algeria.
With Algeria.
Yes.
Freddie could easily have taken the shot, maybe missed it, maybe saved by the goalkeeper, maybe he could have scored. But he went for the right option and going for the high percentage shot, which comes from Gelsindala, the ball across. And obviously, Gelsindala puts the ball in the back of the net, and Angola lead even with a man down.
If you go back to the sequence, I noticed a movement. So I don't know whether if we can go back to the start of that sequence. I noticed something. Now, with the Namibians in shape, I see. So at this point, Gilberto is trying to find a pass.
He's trying to find a pass.
You play that sequence on, and I'll point out something that I thought was a little significant. So just when he makes the pass, if you move the sequence on, stop it. No, just play it on. I'll point out. Watch the defender. I don't know if you saw that movement. If you can go back a bit, I'll point it out to you. Very good. Yeah. No. I think you need to go back a few more seconds. A few more seconds. Very good. Now watch the defender on the
right back.
No, the left back. There's a player in the shot. That's this gentleman.
This gentleman.
No, this gentleman.
Okay, yes.
His move. He moves slightly. If you play the sequence on, you can play it and just observe his movement.
Let's slow.
You can slow it down a bit more. Just play that. Watch his body language as he moves. I don't know what even facilitated that move, because if you are in line,
yes,
and the pass is played, I think, of course, you have to turn, but I think he kind of moves. Somehow, it's a bit of a mess in there.
It's a bit of a mess. The whole defensive structure was a mess from Namibia right from the start. And players, instead of picking up their men, are moving in different directions. And obviously, it leads to them conceding what was a very avoidable goal. Okay,
so this is 1-0 Angola.
This is 1-0 Angola.
Okay, 1-0 Angola. Now, let's move on to the other thing you wanted to point out.
And this is where the game turned even more. Namibia's red card. So at this stage, Angola are up by a 1-0.
Okay.
But Namibia still have a slight advantage because they have an extra man on the field. However, that is wiped out because our defender here is a little too rash with his tackle. When you're on
and for context sake, he was on a yellow card.
When you're on a yellow card as a central defender and the player is played through, you have a couple of decisions to make. Whether you take him out, concede the second yellow card, which obviously puts your team at a disadvantage, or you let him go because you trust in your defensive partner or your goalkeeper to come up and save.
And even in the sequence, as it's frozen, he has a partner with him.
He has a partner who is definitely covering. So, in any case, you have someone who is going to cover the offensive player. So it's not like he has a clear run-in on goal. There was no need to make that tackle. The slightest tackle and Mabululu would go down. He didn't need to touch him. He did, unfortunately, and that was his second yellow card. He didn't even complain about the yellow card because he knew what he had done.
I see.
In that situation.
So because I looked at it again, of course, the replay, and you can tell that, yes, there was an initial contact, but Mabululu trips over himself. Is there any consideration in the argument where somebody can say, look here, ref, it is true. But look, Mabululu trips himself. What if it's not even accidental? I'm running behind him. His leg hits, his boot hits my leg.
It's a situation where obviously the attacking player is given the benefits of the doubt because they are running in on goal.
Okay.
You, the defender, are chasing him. You are supposed to avoid him. Once there's a touch, it's assumed that you try to make a tackle, trying to keep up with the player, and obviously he goes down and red card is given.
So no issues with that decision?
No issues with that. It was a poor decision from the player to keep so close to Mabululu when he has a defender running in on goal and also a goalkeeper that Mabululu would then have to beat. And I understand him, having seen Mabululu's goal in this game, I understand his apprehension on wanting to...
But of course, I mean, at this point, nobody knew Mabululu would score such a wonderful goal anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we move on to Angola's second goal, which came from a set-piece opportunity.
Okay.
And one thing that...
So this was the consequence of... This was a foul. I think the consequence of that...
The consequence of that foul. And this is one thing that's impressed me about Angola so far at the AFCON. Their goals are not limited to just counter-attacks or build-up play. They also score a lot from, or threaten a lot from set pieces. And this is one. Freddie has been putting in some wonderful balls at this tournament already. So he puts in yet another one into the mixer. And this is just poor defending from Namibia. It's just poor set-piece defending from Namibia. Gelson Dala is not the tallest player. He's not the most mobile player aerially. So there's no way he should be in the mixer, beating your centre-backs, your biggest threats in the air so easily and getting the goal. And I think it's a lesson for them to learn going into future matches, future tournaments, that they need to be keeping an eye on each man, no matter how dangerous they may seem or how dangerous they may not seem in that situation.
Okay. All right.
And now we go on to my favorite goal of possibly the round of 16 so far, because it was a brilliant goal. We didn't get the initial setup, but it was a counter-attack, one pass from the back all the way to the front here. And then you can see this run. I talked earlier in the first goal about the space between the two centre-backs.
Yes.
And then we see a similar situation right here. Such a huge gap between the two centre-backs. So obviously this defender is at fault, not being able to keep up with Mabululu in the first place, but also ensuring that there's so much space between him and his defensive partner.
But won't you account for that based on prevailing circumstances? They had a red card.
They had a red card, but in such a situation, you don't lose your discipline. You actually ensure that it's tightened even more, given the circumstances. Okay. And I think they didn't do that in Namibia. Okay. And Mabululu is allowed a clear run on goal. A clear run on goal. And you've got to look at this. At this stage, you don't see where he's going to place the ball. Obviously, as a striker, the Kela is the best option. He could have decided to go near post, which the goalkeeper might not have expected. Yes. But he decides to go for the Kela. And you look at the angle that he's being given here. There's hardly any space for him to aim for. With the goalkeeper standing here, the bend would have had to be superb. And as we see now, he got the bend absolutely right.
That's insane technique.
That's insane technique.
I don't know how he even dug it out because I mean, as he gets the ball, and like I said, his body language is so deceptive. You don't know. Yeah. It's not like he can go. He's not running on goal where you're saying he can go either. So his option is this other side. I have to bend it round the goalkeeper. Now, in order to bend it round the goalkeeper, you should have opened yourself up properly and then give it a good old whack round. But he digs, and I think the technique is amazing.
It's amazing technique, and I saw a tweet from Ghana's all-time goal scorer, Asamoah Gyan, saying these are the kinds of goals he liked, and the technique was so brilliant. And
I mean, Gyan has scored a fair few.
He knows how to score these kinds of goals, and he knows how impressive their technique is. But you've got to give Mabululu credit. I think it's so good we can watch it twice.
First the long pass.
The space in between the defenders. And the good run from Mabululu to hold this run enough for his teammate to find him in an onside position. He did well to do that. And then this was all him. In this situation, it was all him.
You know, just if you freeze the frame on the Namibian coach, I kind of find it's a little hilarious because he almost turns his back and walks to his seat as if to give up and
he basically gave up because once you are in such a position, the attacking player has all the advantages to score, and Mabululu took his chance really well.
Insane. The technique is brilliant.
I wish we had got the angle from the back where you could see how the ball
bends. I mean, if we had that alternative.
But
that's brilliant.
But that's fantastic. A fantastic.
I mean, young footballers out there, if you are watching this, you need to watch this, probably watch clips of Asamoah Gyan and how they score. The ball is not away from you where you have the chance to bend it properly. It's still there. You need to dig it out. And Mabululu tries insane technique to dig it out and bend it past the goalkeeper. It's absolutely brilliant. And Edwin, you can tell that it's not a fluke shot. It's a properly guided, proper technique, proper weight.
Not. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. Okay. He knew where he wanted to place it, and he knew how to get the best curl on it, and he got all that perfectly.
Right.
If anything had been off, it would have hit the post and gone out. It would have gone wide. It would have been saved by the goalkeeper. But he got everything on point, and it ended up in the back of the net.
All right, Mabululu scoring probably one of the most technically pleasing goals of this competition.